Well, Peria pals, I have news. I was just dreaming that some Peria news had come out, and when I woke up and checked on it, it was real. So let's take a look. Thanks to forum user Kage Musya, whose name is also in Korean on the Discord, that I can't pronounce because I'm terrible and I don't speak Korean. He posted this Korean interview with one of the Thingsoft developers, and we've now got it translated into crude English for you to feast your eyes upon. And it actually goes really deep into like kind of the mindset behind where they're trying to take the game. We don't have any release dates or anything cool like that, unfortunately, but it was still super interesting to read. I highly recommend you read it. We'll put the link down in the description, along with a link to the Discord that you can check out, so you can come hang out with us and get this news just a little bit sooner than everybody else, potentially. So yeah, let's take a gander, shall we? So the first whole bit of it is kind of just like about the Thingsoft kind of relationship with Nexon. Nothing too crazy. So I've kind of put a marker in the text where the actual Peria stuff starts. If you see like anything like this, that's just because it's kind of phonetically translated. So just ignore any weird English or spelling. Like that, we're doing the best we can here, okay? But either way, it's mostly understandable. There's some weird stuff in here that kind of doesn't make a ton of sense if you just take it literally. But I think if you're like taking it in context with what they're talking about as a whole, I think it gives a pretty good idea of what they're trying to do with Peria here. So, and it's actually there's some stuff I kind of want to highlight in here because it's pretty hilarious. So, basically, it sounds like reading this. What they're trying to do is to like turn it into like a combination of like a typical like MapleStory type of thing, where you have like your fetch questing and all that crap, but they're trying to do away with like leveling and things like that, where they want to make, if I'm understanding this correctly, the vision is to kind of make stuff like grinding independent, or like maybe you can like grind for materials and stuff like that, but they don't want it to be like where, you know, the people who have put in a ton of time are going to necessarily be the best. It's going to be like potentially more skill based type of thing, or like game knowledge will be like a bigger advantage. So it sounds like it's going to be something kind of like a mix between like a MapleStory with like a Minecraft mixed with like Gary's mod almost, or like people can like, obviously they're still going for like user generated content, things like that, which is super interesting. So basically like this guy's whole beef is like, he's like, well, MMOs can only be so deep, you know, if they exist in the current form. Like he's like, well, you know, we can put in a whole bunch of time building out all this content, but really no matter what we do, like people are going to get through it in like, you know, probably 3 months, and people are going to be mostly grinded through the content at this point. No matter how much we make, like even if you think about like a WoW expansion, right? Like you level up, like, and you're kind of done maxing your character out, except for like in terms of gear, I guess, and being able to like learn. It's going to be more like comparable to like learning boss mechanics versus like having to grind gear to be able to beat enemies. So it's going to be, it sounds like kind of more of a combination of that. And he goes into the point of saying like, you know, if you have a ton of students in a class, like, you know, not every student is good at, you know, passing tests and doing this type of stuff. Some people would rather just, like, you know, learn how to do cooking and things like that. And like, people are basically, like, his point is like, people are going to be happy doing something that they actually care about or like are interested in. So instead of like pigeonholing people into being like, okay, he's like, yeah, so someone is really into like designing their interior to their house or something in the game, but, you know, if they're not max levels, potentially they'll be more tempted to just like max their character out first before they focus on that stuff. But he's like, no, we don't want it to be like that. Like, if you like doing the decorating and like customizing stuff, like, go for it. And like, this isn't gonna hold you back in any way from being able to experience the rest of the game when you're ready to. Like, you don't have to, like, there's not like set path where it's like get to max so that you can farm, get your materials, and then you're pigeonholed into like, you know, doing things by like a set path of like most efficiency, it sounds like. And he's also kind of like irritated about how the content is limited. So obviously they want to have the user generated stuff, but at the same time, if they go with user generated stuff, it's very difficult to have any type of leveling type of systems in place, because obviously, like, if you're letting users generate content, like, what's from having someone just generate like a room with like 100 mobs in it that you can just kill really easily because they're all like in a chamber. Like grinding just becomes like irrelevant at that point. So it's almost like he actually goes into talking about like StarCraft or like something like a game more similar to like that, where, you know, the race doesn't change except for like balance changes and things like that. If you know StarCraft, it's basically like, it's kind of like Age of Empires or something like that, where you have your race that you choose to be, and each race has like different units and stuff, but they try to balance them so that they're fairly equal, all three of them. But basically, the better you get at playing the game, the easier it is to beat people, to the point where like, if you're good at the game, like, nobody who's new to the game will ever be able to beat you, because they just can't, like, you're just too good at it. And they're kind of going for something more like that, or like obviously like Counter-Strike or something is a very simple example too, where, you know, it's not just directly the amount of time you put into the game grinding is how good you are. It's, you have to actually be good at the game as well. And he actually goes as far to say, like, I don't know if it's in here somewhere, PvP, the ultimate content is PvP. The game StarCraft does not change. The build does not change. And we want to, this part, it didn't translate very well. He's like, we want to combine skills, and basically be able to win or lose based on your skill, not based on like how much you've grinded or something like that to get that far. So basically his goal is to kind of create like some type of replayable like PvP style content that people can then customize in various ways, a la like Gary's mod, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't sound like he has like the full idea fleshed out yet either, and he's really like looking to try and change the face of how MMOs work. And this is a really cool idea, because I would tend to agree that, like, you know, the format has largely gotten stale, and we need something new and more interesting to like keep people playing MMORPGs. Like, I don't know. I really hope they can pull it off. Let's see. Yeah, and basically, like, at the end of that whole spiel, like, he's like, yeah, like, we're trying to solve like a pretty difficult task here. Like, he goes as far as to say, like, even Blizzard's not, you know, stretching out and trying to make a new RPG. Like, they're just kind of, they have WoW, and they're just kind of releasing expansion after expansion, where like, it's, you know, it's more basically just the same of what people want. But yeah, like, there's no true answer to like what is the correct way of doing it. So it's basically like they're just kind of throwing ideas at the wall and trying to see what's fun, what sticks. And then they kind of compare it to Minecraft a little bit, where he's like, you know, in Minecraft obviously there's like tons of mods and stuff, but that's gonna all be built into the game, where instead of having to do like a lot of the mods externally, or like using like Source Engine to like build everything externally, like they're trying to put as much of it into the game and make it as simple as possible. and it sounds pretty interesting. Obviously, they're like, oh, we don't want to have the Duke Nukem scenario. That would be bad. And there was actually a really funny part down here near the bottom where he's talking about the basically, if you don't know, in Korea they have 2 years mandatory army service in that country, and basically I think most people do it like right when they get out of high school, so I guess like 18 to 20 years old. So he said the Peria fans are in the same boat we are in North America, Europe, etc., as I guess the Western fans will say. And they want this game to hurry up and come out as well. He's like, I hear lots of stories where people go, what the hell are you doing? I went to the army when this game was announced. Now I'm working full time. So basically he means like he was in the army for 2 years, went to university, and now he's in a job. So we're like, 4 or 5 years down the line at this point, and the game's still not out. But there is hope, because he's like, look forward to this. The last sentence is, there will be rewarding for waiting. So just definitely keep that in mind. Peria is not dead. Highly recommend you read the interview. They actually cover microtransactions slightly in here, which I think is funny. Let me see, where is it? Yeah, let's read this part. Let's consider Mabinogi. Actually, we'll do the question first. So, past overlooked connection, such things. 90% different. Fresh, strange. First impression, freshness. Let's consider Mabinogi. Mabinogi, the reason for cutting wool is because it's necessary process to make items. But even if you only cut wool, you get the same efficiency as going into a dungeon and hunting. So you just have to shear wool for 24 hours. Why did you tell this story if someone made a map in Peria and somebody else put a device like this in it to make it moderate difficulty, and I also created a quest to save the princess, so when someone comes and wakes up one time, I make a rule that it costs only 100 won and wakes up within 20 minutes. So basically it's like we put a thing in there where it's pay to win. 100 won is like, it's kind of like Japanese yen, where it's Korean won. It's their currency. So like, I don't know what the exchange rate is on won, but we'll call it like 100 yen, which would be like $1. So you can just pay $1 and you win the level. And then he's like, this is the Nexon strategy. And I swear. So he's kind of, he's going after Nexon kind of about the microtransactions, which I think is hilarious. He's like, yeah, if you make this available to a user, someone will create a map, someone will make the quest, someone else will put money here and spend on it. Users do these things unnecessarily. He's like, the dungeon's not a big growth. It's a one-way problem, and it's already been solved. And he doesn't think like he's kind of talking about like how like in mobile games they're kind of doing like a lot of things where like you can pay money to like save your time and stuff. And he's like, well, like just forget grinding in general. Like we'd rather just get away from this concept and go to something that's more like you learn like a repeatable skill or something. Like even like if you think about like, I don't know if you've played like Counter-Strike or games like that are like mods of Counter-Strike where like you can do like surf and things like that, like or jump maps or climb or jailbreak. Like there's tons of different things and they're all based around like, you know, you're still just like controlling your character and doing things. But or even StarCraft like has custom maps, like it's nuts. Like there's jailbreak in StarCraft, or like people created like Dota using StarCraft. It's about taking like the engine that you've been given and just being able to make something new out of it, or something that's fun, where like, you know, someone could be really good at StarCraft or like Warcraft 3 but not be good at Dota. Like it's similar, but it takes practice and skill to get good at that particular thing. So if someone were to like make a cooking mechanic or something like that, where you have to farm ingredients and do all this stuff. Like if someone designed this whole thing, like maybe, yeah, you know how to like control your character and do that stuff, but you still have to learn like the specific ins and outs of how to do what it is you're trying to do. Or like even like prop hunt, like, you know, people are good at like these different like weird mini games that are all in these games. Like even like surf and in Counter-Strike, like it's not easy to do like until you learn how to do it. And once you learn how to do it, it's really fun. but it's not like you can just get like a random Counter-Strike player and they're instantly like able to beat all the surf maps because they're good at Counter-Strike. It's like, no, it's different. You have to learn how to do it and practice. So it's it's kind of cool. So it sounds like they're still trying to get this ready for G-Star of this year. So I'm really hoping to see like some kind of demo or announcement of like a playable beta, hopefully. I'm not saying anything is set in stone or anything like that, but yeah, I mean, this just got me super hyped. I'm gonna read this like probably 2 or 3 more times at least, including the top part here about kind of the background about this stuff. So yeah, just really cool news, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your week, and peace out, Peria pals.